G'day everyone and welcome back to the Big Swing No Ding podcast, sending those bales back to New South Wales since 2019. As you all are going to be very well aware at this point, it is World Cup final week, World Cup final evening the time this comes out. And I haven't talked about it at all. My exams are just finished, so I've only had spare time in the last 3 days. And I gotta say, about damn time, because, well, first of all, I miss sitting in this chair and surrounded by this beautiful collection of buckets. However, what really makes this quite the extravagant time is Matthew damn Wade! Matthew damn Wade, bro, what the hell is he doing? I don't know, man, but it worked. Whatever he did worked. Whatever Marcus Stoneman did worked. Whatever Hassan Ali did worked. But, you know, Australia are in the World Cup, the T20 World Cup final for some reason. And I don't think I'll ever quite be able to fathom just how they did it. I have watched the last 5 overs over, I want to say about a dozen times now. Every time I watch it, I still think, as part of me still thinks Australia is gonna lose, but no, they won with an over to spare. I just watched it for the first. I just watched it with my dad. It was his first time watching it. He knew the result and he knew they won with an over to spare. He knew Matthew Wade did it, but he said he barely watches cricket at all. He just watched it because I'm a nut, right? But he said, I was watching it the whole time. It got down to 12 and over, still 22 off 12. You know, this Shaheen guy's pretty good, he said. And even he couldn't realize, he still couldn't make the connection as to just how Australia were going to win it. But they just did. And, bro, I don't understand it, man. I was up until 5 a.m. Well, I stayed up for another hour just to process it, to be honest. And watching this game. And when Matthew Wade hit 3 consecutive sixes after Hassan Ali dropped him the ball before that and Australia moved to the T20 World Cup final, my stomach churned in amazement. Like, I was literally so amazed, I threw up. Like, no kidding. I was lying in my bed, had it on my computer, and I was just in a state of disbelief. Not for just the fact that Pakistan had lost, because they're just so much better than every other team in this comp. It's not even funny. Not for just the fact that Australia were 5 for 96, or I think about 5 for 96, and chased down 177 with an over to spare. Not just that they won off 3 consecutive sixes. Not just that it was off Shaheen Afridi, not just that it was off a drop catch, but it was at Matthew damn Wade, bro. The last person I expected in this whole damn lineup to do it. Works, you know, apart from probably Josh Hazelwood. But, you know, and you know what? Matthew Wade probably kept the receipts from all of us hating on him throughout this whole World Cup and for the last summer. You know, everyone's wanted him out of this team for a damn while, right? And you know what? Rightfully so. I think he's averaged 9.3 since he's returned to T20 World Cup team. I don't know. I read that on Twitter somewhere. Take it with a grain of salt. It's Twitter. And, you know, he hasn't really done much. And all of his success, like pretty much every damn decent Australian T20 batsman, has come to, well, opening in the Big Bash. And then they just try and bat him at 5, 6, and 7 because we don't have anyone to put. I want to say we don't have anyone to play 5, 6, and 7. But, you know, Tim David exists, Jimmy Peirson exists, but, you know, we don't pick those guys because that would be too easy and be too cool. Like, oh, bro, imagine if we had Tim David and Jimmy Peirson in this team. Are they as good as players as Matthew Wade? Overall, probably not. But you know what? They suit that position so well. And you know what? They're cooler players. I'm going to keep it a buck. I'm not the biggest Matthew Wade fan. I wanted him out of the test side. I mean, I was rooting for him to get back in the test side like a few years ago, right? You know, he was making a good run of form. It was a good comeback story. Good for him. I was happy for him. But after he made his second time, I was like, yeah, okay, I've had enough now. And then he kind of went on an average run of form. A lot of people were questioning whether he should Not just whether he should be in the 11, but whether he should even be in the World Cup squad, because I don't think I've seen him. He hit like maybe a couple 30s in the Bangladesh v West Indies tour, Bangladesh and West Indies tours. And you know what? Yeah, I'll give credit for that, because the rest of the team did absolutely nothing. So fair enough. I can maybe just justify a squad inclusion. But I said at the start of this tournament, it's only a matter of time before Josh Inglis plays. It's only a matter of time before he takes over. And you know what? And maybe they'll fake an injury and get Dan Christian in the team. But no, they persisted with him. It wasn't a match-winning performance, but he finished off a match a couple games ago. So, and you know that justified his inclusion. It justified his spot at number 7. So you know what? I guess it makes sense that he was there at the end of the day. But more than anything, he repaid the faith, and he damn well backed himself. And you know what? I may not like Matthew Wade. I may have kind of thrown up in amazement. But you know what? I respect the hell out of that. You know what? And shout out to him. Shout out to him. And you know, that's probably the most... that's underselling it probably like to an extreme degree. You know, oh, good on him, mate. Good, like, I'll give you respect. But yeah, what can you do? But, that's all you can really put into words. I don't really know what I want to add to all this that hasn't been said already, because it's just it's one of the most insane Australian T20 games that I've ever seen, or white ball games in general. And when Wade got in and we would, you know, go in and run a ball, someone on my chat said, jokingly, Wade to do a Michael Hussey. He damn well did it. I can't. Bro, what the hell? We're in the T20 is the weirdest form of sport. No one can predict it. I don't care what anyone says. You cannot predict who is going to come on top of a T20. You see it every year in the Big Bash. Yeah, actually, no. Last T20 World Cup, West Indies were the best team. See, that's probably the one time. But what you can safely say is the best team very rarely wins in T20. IPL, CSK, honestly, overall, they didn't have the best team this year. Oh, I mean, RCB, that's the prime example. They have the superstars every year. They finish bottom. Who even knows, bro? At the start of our Big Bash preview last year, we predicted the Sydney Sixers to finish to miss the finals altogether. Well, some of it, I'm pretty sure I did. I know for sure I did. None of us thought they would repeat, but they somehow did with a crap list. And we thought, you know what? I said the Scorchers would go undefeated. They lost their first 3 games. We all thought it would be a Scorchers Hurricanes final. Hurricanes didn't even make the finals. It's the most unpredictable format of sport in the world. Probably not. That's most unpredictable good sport. Yeah, I don't care what anyone says. You cannot predict T20. The best team very rarely wins. Australia is not the second best T20 team in the world right now. New Zealand might be. They're probably top 3, right? But, bro, Australia, at the start of this tournament, I thought, you know what? If we make semi-finals, I'll be happy. That's an overachievement. And you know what? And although everyone said that the other group was the easier one, rather, I actually think Australia got the easier draw. Because although the qualifiers and the lower tier teams were much harder in Group B, right, Australia's group, as opposed to Afghanistan, Namibia, and Scotland in India's group, right? No, New Zealand's group, I guess we should say. The top teams weren't as good, right? You only really had England and South Africa, apart from Australia. And South Africa aren't very good. I'll be honest. Australia should have beaten them by a lot more. They are a much better team than South Africa. That's not saying much, because South Africa stink. Although Rassie van der Dussen can, I guess, win you a game off your bat. I guess Rabada can. They have some good players. But they're not to the same level as New Zealand, Pakistan, or India, and they're not even really close, right? India and Pakistan are quite clearly the two best T20 teams in the world. They both got knocked out. Pakistan got knocked out in the semi-final after going undefeated. India lost their first game to Pakistan, and was it the second game or the third game to New Zealand? I'm not sure. And they didn't even make the finals/semi-finals. And then we thought, okay, maybe England are the team. Nope, they got maybe one injury, and they cost. I don't think that's what cost them. It's just T20 cricket. It was, people we're sort of I'm at least underrating the other semi-final between England and New Zealand. I didn't watch a hell of a lot of it because I fell asleep, and because I just haven't watched much of this T20 World Cup, which sucks. I've watched parts of every game, and the most I probably watched was Papua New Guinea versus Oman. Which was the first game of the tournament, and I'm pretty sure, I watched the whole entirety of that game because it's fun. You know what? Papua New Guinea, I'm not even gonna hesitate. They're the most fun team to watch play cricket. I've been saying that for a while. Well, I haven't been saying that exact thing for a while, but they've been fun. I was a bit disappointed by their performance. I thought they were actually a genuine chance to go through to the Super 12s. But you know what? I had a good time watching it. But anyway, point is, I didn't really watch a ton this World Cup. I watched the minis, the KO minis, which are 30 minutes condensed matches. But I just straight up didn't have time. That's the nature of exams. But Big Swing Noting podcast is getting the gears they're going like this. They're absolutely spinning if you're on audio form, and you can expect a lot more to do this. And there should be another episode dropping later this week that I might actually record right now. Anyway, that's not what I'm talking about. Matthew Wade. What more can be said? I was hanging out on Twitter for pretty much the entirety of this game, right? Because all my friends who watch cricket have gone to sleep at this point. It's 1 a.m. We bowled like absolute shithouse. We could only bowl full tosses when we bowled Yorkers. Pat Cummins stinks as a white ball bowler, I've established. Mitch Stark is so far past it. Josh Hazlewood started the tournament like a house on fire. But he was dismal for most of his bowling. And Adam Zampa is the savior, bro. Sleeper pick for player of the tournament. Adam Zampa. Every single game he has delivered, and he has delivered in spades. I'm not sure of exact statistics, but he's just such a thinking bowler. Every time he bowls, he has a set plan. And the over he got Babar Azam out. He had him on absolute Alcatraz, for 5 balls of that over. He cramped him up. He got him playing out wide, and he only got 2 runs off to that point. And so, had wickets in the shed. So he's like, okay, well, we've cramped him up to this side now, and so I'm gonna put him into I'm gonna tempt him in to the longer boundary, but I'm gonna put it in the slot for him to hit it there. But I'm gonna drag my length back just a smidge, right? So it's not completely in the slot. It's just this much back of a length. And you know what? He holed out. Genius bowling. Absolute genius bowling. He ended up with 1 for 20, I think. And that doesn't even put into justice just how well he bowled, even with an economy of 5, which ultimately, if he goes at 8 and over, Australia don't win this match. There's many instances you can look at. We haven't even talked about David Warner at this point. Bro, what do you even say? When he went out, I thought, nah, no way, no are we winning this. And I saw a lot of, and Twitter went dead after this, bro. No one was on it. And then especially when Glenn Maxwell went out the over after, I think, which to a dumb shot, by the way, Glenn, come on, bro. I'm a big fan of you, and I actually think you are a smart cricketer. Yeah, I know, huge gutsy call there. But when he's in a bad run of form, which is crazy because he just came off an amazing IPL, he becomes a dumb cricketer. And I think he's only able to play his reverse shots and whatnot because he picks the moments really well and he picks the field. This was not one of those matches. He played a reverse scoopy pulley thing, and he hit it straight to square when he had deep point in, or a deep cover point. Why? Why would you do that? Like, you have to... and that was still a long boundary. You have to, like, fucking connect with that. You have to really connect with that to get that for 6 off the reverse. And I don't... Glenn Maxwell is one of the guys that can do that shot. So I can understand it. But at that time in the game, you're 6 off 7 or something. That was dumb, bro. That's dumb. And I can't defend you for that, even though I really, really love watching you play. But back to David Warner. When he went out for 49, I was disappointed. And I thought, well, any little glimmer of hope that I had of Australia winning this game was out the window. And then 2 balls later, it showed daylight between the bat and the ball. Flat line on Snicko. David, bro, I don't like. And batsmen don't always know when they hit it, and there was a noise, I guess. But I mean, if he clearly did genuinely think he hit it, and so I can't blame him. I guess it just made me angry to the point. And if you've got a creaky handle bat, like, I understand, you got your favorite bat and whatnot, and, what feels good. I am a cricketer after all. But, you're a professional cricketer. Just get a new bat. You got like 6 in your bag. Just get another one. So, but, that was really disappointing. But Warner played really well to that point. And I was this close to saying, he looks in the zone tonight. He looks like the David Warner of old. And part of why I don't think he has been like that is because he hasn't had a freedom. He's played within himself, but more to the point, he's acting like not even within himself, like within what someone else told him to be. And I cannot definitely understand trying to turn over a new leaf after all that happened with the ball tampering. And because he was just a dickhead before that. But sometimes you just gotta be a dickhead. Bro, like, you look at Jamie Tart in Ted Lasso, bro. He in his second time he got to Richmond, he stunk. But they flipped him off. They gave him the signal to be a dickhead. Best player on the team again. And, it's Ted Lasso, it's a comedy TV show, but, I think you gotta encourage the guy. You gotta encourage David Warner to just be a dick sometimes. You just got... loosen the shoulders up and play with freedom, And I feel like that's something he's sort of lacked over the last couple of years. But it was good to see him playing just how he wanted to play for this match. And hopefully he can put in some more runs for the World Cup final. All right, let's talk about Stephen Smith. There's been a big commotion, well, mostly brought up by Shane Warne, over his place in the T20 side. Because he bats at about around a ball, which is kind of... it is true this tournament. He's striking at like 97. However, David Malan was rated the best T20 batsman in the world. He barely strikes over a run a ball. Mohammad Rizwan striked it barely over a run a ball for last tournament. There's so many examples of this throughout this World Cup. And T20s in general. Like, you do need that sort of player, right? However, to like be the solution or be the anchor, as Steve Smith described it himself. However, the problem arises when you can't actually make runs or stay there in the first place. It's all well and good to describe yourself as the anchor, Steve, but then you still got to actually be the anchor. I want him to do well, obviously. But that was really dumb, bro. Like, I feel like he's And you know what? I'm not even going to completely blame him. Because I feel like part of all this pressure that's been put on Steve Smith to score at a higher rate, or to, be more of a T20 player, in quotation marks. It might have got to him. Because that shot is off Shadab Khan. It was wide, fourth stump, turning away. And he slog sweeped it. What did you think was going to happen? You're going to top edge it, and it's going to go to deep square, or not even get to deep square, or deep mid wicket. It was a really bad shot, and I feel like we've seen that a lot from Smith this tournament. And that's where the problem arises. I don't mind having an anchor in T20 cricket. I think that's fine. You need that. And I feel like Steve Smith's ability to be that is really underrated in white ball cricket. ODI cricket, he is a gun. He's a gun ODI player, but no one respects it. In T20 cricket, he's averaged close to 40 over the last few years. I think. I might be completely making that up. You can fact check that and tell me I'm wrong. And he is a good T20 player. But maybe he's not right for the makeup of this team. The I want to say the blueprint for Australia's got is wrong, but they're in the World Cup final, so I guess maybe not. But you can only have a certain number of constructors, right? Even though Stoinis is batting at 6, and he's been given the finisher role, and he's been doing good at it, he is still a constructor. He is not a guy go from the word go like Glenn Maxwell is. Like, Wade can do that. Who else can do it? Warner can absolutely hit a ball from the word go. He's batting at 4. Mitch Marsh, absolutely. And when you've got too many of those guys in the lineup, it sort of starts to clash with each other. And what I think, and although I do definitely believe in knowing your role and keeping a structure, in T20 cricket, the key to winning is versatility. Not just in position-wise, not just mentally-wise in the game plan, it's how you play. It's how you construct a chase. Marcus Stoinis, the reason why he's been so successful in Big Bash over the years is because he's been given the keys. He is given the keys to the team at the top of the order. He is allowed to soak up as many deliveries as he likes, and then by the end of the game, he punishes it. And if Stoinis comes in with 2 overs to go, he doesn't have the scories. He doesn't hit the ball like he did in the last couple overs tonight. And you can say that for pretty much every batsman in the world. But Stoinis is very tentative. He doesn't. Sometimes he does back himself and he looks amazing, right? But it was a kind of a blessing that he came in with 8 overs to go or 9 overs to go. He was able to sort of like push it around a bit and then pick off the bad ball with just some pure muscle, hit it down back at the umpire, which was just crack. That was a really nice shot. But you can only have so many of those guys that need the keys to an innings. Does Warner need the keys to an innings? Probably. Does Stoinis? Yes. Does Steve Smith? Yes. Steve Smith cannot be a complimentary batsman. Well, I mean, he can be if you've got Glenn Maxwell at the other end, or you've got Matthew Wade at the other end, or you've got Aaron Finch at the other end. Aaron Finch batting at 6, by the way, or down the order. Late order hitter, it works. We've seen it in the past. David Warner and Darcy Short were an incredible opening pair. Didn't last. And I don't know why we're just so hesitant to play them out of position again, but it's whatever. It's worked. I mean, all the players are playing well at the moment, so I guess you can't really complain too much. But I just worry about Steve Smith. And although historically he performs extremely, extremely well under pressure, one of the best knockout performers in cricket history, and then Test cricket, it's another thing entirely. It just goes to another level. I don't know. Are Australia game enough to drop Steve Smith? I don't think they should. And that's not a gutsy call. And I just want everyone to just sort of calm down about Steve Smith. Both the haters and the pros alike. Because the people who defend Steve Smith, it started off like Warner's an idiot, which he is. Smith deserves his place in the team, which he does. Well, did. But however, you can't keep dying on that mountain. Although you do have to persist with your elite players, there becomes a point where you have to question them. And that's okay. For people who attack Steve Smith, he's elite. it's going to click at some point. And the strike rate thing is just dumb. That's a dumb argument. He can go faster. He does go faster. And it's not even detrimental if he doesn't go faster. So, you can shut up. You can shut up. Right? I feel like there needs to be a level ground where, you know what? You can think Steve Smith should be out of the team. That's fine. You should think that he's in the team. That's fine. However, you need to realize that both he's not in a great run of form and he still has the ability to go fast, and it's not detrimental if he doesn't. That's my opinion on the whole Steve Smith thing. I would play him in the World Cup final. That's not controversial. Although, I feel like Josh Inglis would absolutely thrive if you threw him in for a debut in a World Cup final. I wonder how many times that's happened. But I definitely wouldn't be totally opposed to that. Ooh, Hurricanes got skittled again in the WBBL. Not much new there. They got bowled out for 94. I really like WBBL, just a side note. Really underrated tournament, although it hasn't been quite as good this year. I don't know why, just scoring hasn't been quite as good. But get on WBBL, best tournament in the world. Alright, Pakistan now. I feel so bad for Pakistan. I feel so bad for them. They're the best team in the world. It's not close. Well, India can beat them, maybe. Australia can. Well, any team can beat any team in T20. That's the crazy thing about T20. And it has its pros and cons. Pros, it's really damn climactic. Cons, it's just sort of luck sometimes. And you know, does that sort of like take away from the aspect of sport a little bit? Maybe. But whatever. This has been a great World Cup. I'm not complaining. Night T20s that reach a climax like this, so good. It gets your heart thumping. Anyway, Pakistan, bro. I feel so sorry for them. If Australia didn't win this World Cup, I wanted Pakistan to win it. Just because they're just so fun to watch, dude. They're so fun. And so many likable players. Mohammad Rizwan has the best combination of gloves and batting in the world. If I'm starting a team in any format of the game, I am picking Mohammad Rizwan as my wicketkeeper in any form of the game. Babar Azam, is he the best batsman in the world right now? Probably. Fakhar Zaman. I'm just trying to steer clear of the obvious hindrances on that name. He's been a bit topsy-turvy, but you know what? He fired a strike rate of 171 last night. Asif Ali is cool. Shoaib Malik and Hafiz, they got a combined age of 100, so you know it's whatever with them. Shadab though, bro, what a player! I love Shadab Khan. He is so good, and he got 4 for 25. Did he get 4 for 26? And sometimes when you watch Shadab, you're like, oh, he's the definition of crap gets wickets. Not necessarily the case. He is I almost said he's a bit like Adam Zampa, but I'll just say he's another thinking bowler. He just changes it up really subtly. He gets you in a bit uncomfortable positions, and he bowls with heat, even though he's a spinner and doesn't get anywhere near 100 Ks. He still bowls with fire, if that makes sense. He's just got a bit of pizzazz about him, even though he just bowls, just slow sort of leggies. But you know what? And they don't really turn. But he's fun, and he bashes it at the bottom of the order. Shadab had a great game. He's already captained Pakistan in white ball, and well, if Babar wasn't there, or if Babar gets injured again, he's the obvious choice, bro. He's a great player, Shadab Khan, and he's a player that more franchise teams in Big Bash, Big Bash, just T20 franchise leagues around the world should target. He's a really, really nice player and so versatile. Imad Wasim is kind of boring, but he's really good. And it's sort of hard to comprehend why with Imad Wasim, but he just sort of bowls it. And he bowls it in places that it's hard to hit. There's value in that. There's absolutely value in that. He was the 4th best T20 bowler in the world a couple years ago. He's still very nice. Very nice with it. It's a bit like Mark Watt. When he bowls it, you're sort of like, what the hell does he do? But it's just real subtle stuff that just gets you in the wrong place. And, he's probably not to the extent that Mark Watt does, because Mark Watt's just he's a cricket genius. finger spinner from Scotland. If you don't know who I'm talking about, go watch him. I've only seen him go for over an economy of 6 one time. He's just an incredible bowler, even though he's unincredible. It's so weird. But Imad Wasim's just that guy. He just puts it in your unorthodox positions, and that's valuable, especially when you have guys like Harris, Ralph, and Shaheen Afridi backing up. Woo, Shaheen. Okay, we'll get to Hassan Ali in a minute. Firstly, Harris Ralph. Could he be in like the starting 11 of best T20 players and T20I players in the world right now? Maybe. And he got tonked this game, but he didn't even bowl that bad. He's just so clever with change-ups. He is the epitome of a T20 bowler, and I really hope he keeps getting all the success he wants. He's really fun player to watch. Shaheen, bro. Shaheen. Best all-format bowler in the world. I don't know how you can debate that anymore at this point. And he's only 21. Whether he's actually 21, But he's an incredible bowler. There's not much more to say. That the ball to Aaron Finch to get that nut first up, that's crazy, dude. No player in the world can play that. Coming into fifth stump, just gets a beautiful seam position, seams in a little bit, left arm over the wicket to the right hander. And, so nice, bro. Yeah, you could tell how much I enjoyed that. Shaheen's really likable. And I felt really bad for him. He just missed his length a little bit in the last couple overs. The last over. And then he bowled a low full toss at the end, which Wade ramped for 6. I still can't believe that. He ramped Shaheen, who was bowling in swingers at 148 kilometers an hour, and he ramped it for 6. Bro, that's some balls, bro. That's some balls. That's all I gotta say. Yeah, bro. I felt bad for Shaheen, bro, because I think the whole world was just taken aback by how incredible his first over was. It just seemed like every ball was gonna be a wicket, and he was incredibly stiff to go for 1 for 4, I think, or 1 for 2, whatever it was, and eventually 1 for 35 was his final figures. Not reflective at all. He was 1 for 8 off 2. And yeah, I felt really bad for him because, people aren't gonna remember, well, they will remember how incredible he was this tournament, because they got one of their most famous wins in their history as a nation against India at the start of this tournament. And he was the backbone of that, and he has been riveting throughout this tournament. So I'm glad Shaheen's on people's radars again. And I just hope that this match didn't put people off him. And I feel bad for him if that's what happened. But not as bad as I feel for Hassan Ali. The less said, the better, bro. Get tanked for none for 44 to drop a catch off Matthew Wade, and then literally the next 3 balls he hits 3 sixes to take his team into a World Cup final. Bro, that's like worse than Herschel. I mean, the catch wasn't worse than Herschel Gibbs, but it's a huge Herschel Gibbs moment. And you could see it. The pressure got to him. Even though it was a running catch, you can sort of excuse it a little bit. But in the end, he was so nervous, he overran it. And he didn't slow down. He just kept running as the ball got to him. He could have, just slowed down a little bit and got into a comfortable position. Not like feet planted, but he could have got into a comfortable position, and that didn't happen. And now the whole nation wants to kill him, and I feel really, really bad for him. Not a controversial goal at all. Which sucks, because he's had a good tournament. And, well, all of Pakistan has. Have they played the same 11 for the whole tournament? I think maybe. Was Asif Ali there? I don't know. And they still got like Haider Ali on the sidelines. Bro, Pakistan, y'all gotta win next year. Y'all gotta win next year if Australia don't win this year. And I don't know. It'd be cool if Australia won their first T20 World Cup on home soil. But I won't be too upset if they win this year. Pakistan are the best team in the world, and I was like, a small part of me was rooting for them. I wanted them to win for a little bit. And anyway, I feel bad for them. They are so nice to watch. They've just mastered the T20 game plan so well. But when it came to the last 6 or 7 overs, when it came to the clutch, they couldn't close it out. They lost their heads a bit. I love Babar. He made some odd field placements given the context of the game. His bowling changes weren't great. I feel like he could have closed the game out then and there. Leaving Shadab on was the obvious choice, and he did that well. And they almost worked. He almost got them all out, but I feel like they should have bowled Shaheen earlier, and they should have just tried to close out the game there and there. Harris Routh was poorly used, and I get you want to save a couple overs for the death, because he's Harris Routh and he's just incredible at the death, but given the context of the game, you want to avoid the death in its entirety. Even though you've got one of the best death bowlers in the world, the death is still the most dangerous time in all of cricket. So you take that out of the equation, Baba. Alright? You got to get that out. You got to go attack. You got to close these guys out while they're fresh at the crease. And you know what? Props to Marcus Stoinis, who took the first ball of the partnership between him and Wade. He took Shadab for 6. And maybe that just caused a few alarms in Babar's head. To just be, I don't know, a bit more defensive or just a bit unsure. Maybe just sort of made him click a little bit. Bad press conference as well, by the way, Babar. Just didn't defend Haseen Ali at all. Basically just indirectly blamed him, of course. Like, he's still a captain. He's not an idiot. But he sort of just suggested that that's what cost him the game. And, you know, to some degree it did. But there was a lot more that added up to that point. And I just feel like he could have handled that a bit better. So the World Cup final is this time tomorrow, pretty much. Although it'll be later in the evening by the time. You'll know when I upload this. I don't know why I always say that. But Australia v New Zealand. Not the two teams in the comp. I haven't said a word about New Zealand, by the way. Devon Conway out is big for them. But they've got really good depth. Has Glenn Phillips even been... I don't think Glenn Phillips has even played this tournament. So, a straight swap for him, like, that's fine. Like, Glenn Phillips is a great replacement for Devon Conway. They've just got such nice versatility. You have New Zealand. But Devon Conway is a big out. And it just makes them their real reliable top order just a little bit more... makes them a little bit more vulnerable. And vulnerability is something that the Australian fast bowlers smell. They seek it in their blood. I'll be interested to see what Pat Cummins and Mitch Starc do. Pat Cummins has been crap this tournament. And he's been crap, well, maybe not crap, but he's been average in white ball for a while now. And I've sort of had my questions around him as a white ball bowler for a little bit, because Australia don't really have specialists in T20. The number one you would say would be Chris Lynn, but he sucks in international level. There's no two ways about it. When he played, he unfortunately just didn't do much. And so they've just sort of gone for the safe option. They've played the test bowlers. And although Pat Cummins is so good, sometimes I wonder. This is a joke. That some people, I tweeted this, and some people were like, "Huh? What do you like? No logic." Sometimes I wonder if he's a bit too good for T20 cricket. You know, he just kind of bowls balls that are, they're good balls, but they're kind of predictable. And in T20 cricket, you can just sort of hack, and sometimes it works. And yeah, I just don't think the pace of the game will suits him sometimes. That's not to say he should drop because he's Pat Cummins. He's probably the best bowler in the world, right? But just a couple concerns, and I'm kind of on Cummins, the white ball bowler at the moment, But I hope that he can pull something out. Josh Hazlewood he's good. He's very good. I muffled my words there, but I hope he has a good open to the final. It all relies on Mitch Starc's first over, though. If he can get one of Guptill or Daryl Mitchell out. Shout out Daryl Mitchell, by the way. Not many people knew who he was coming into this tournament. Real cricket fans know he made a test century last summer. It was only 6 months ago. Bro, that was this summer. Wow, a whole year, dude. Anyway, real ones though, what David Mitchell was capable of. And I kind of don't mind him, but now he's kind of becoming mainstream, so it's okay. But wow, he has really stepped up in a couple of absences. Kane Williamson, uncharacteristically bad this World Cup. Kane Williamson bad in a World Cup? Huh? He averages like 100 and... No, not 100. He averages like 80 in World Cups. At least no, I can't remember the statistics for T20 World Cups, but I'm assuming it's good. But yeah, he's been quite bad. But a lot's going to be relying on him now that Devon Conway is out of the picture for this match. Overall, New Zealand are a much more reliable team than Pakistan, much more reliable team than Australia. And I feel like it's less likely that they pull off something that Pakistan did to lose the match. Pakistan's ceiling is still much bigger, much higher than New Zealand's. But Australia's ceiling is higher than New Zealand's. I think. If they are on, I feel like they'll beat New Zealand. If New Zealand... But the thing is, New Zealand can be not on, but they can still win. Their floor is high. Australia's floor is down here, right? So that's sort of the trade-off you've got to make. What form of the sides are we going to get? Who's going to step up to the pressure? It's hard to know. It's hard to know. Like I say, it's T20 cricket. The best team rarely wins. New Zealand is the better team. But how you calculate that is different. Like, you can interpret Australia as the better team given by what I've just said. So, it's T20 cricket. Who the hell knows what's going to happen? I'm predicting Australia win because... Actually, no, I'm going to say that because it's the podcast and people are going to take that out of context. I'm predicting New Zealand win. And then if I'm wrong, then I'll still be happy. So, sucked in. That'll be it. Thanks for watching this completely pointless episode where I talked about stuff you already knew. But nonetheless, it's good to be back. A lot is going to be happening on the podcast set for this summer. I'm going to be covering... I'm hoping for 2 episodes a week minimum on cricket, and I'm hoping for... I'm gonna be giving an AFL draft preview in the next week, because that's at the end of the month, and I want to say I'm all over it. I'm not a complete draft expert, but I know a lot of the players. I've taken a keen interest in the draft for the last couple of years as a Hawthorn fan. So I've sort of got a little bit worked out. I know like the top 30 guys and a couple like sleepers. Like I'm not gonna act like I'm a draft genius. But I've made a first round mock draft, so which will be top 19 at this point. So I'll run through all that, and I'll run through what your team needs if you're an AFL fan, and then I'll give complete off-season reviews. But a lot is going to be happening for the cricket side. I'll be covering all the Australian Test matches this summer, and I really want to expand into other matches. I've only done 2. One was the World Test Championship final between New Zealand and India, and the other was West Indies v Bangladesh when Kyle Mayers did his Chittagong Classic. I really want to expand because I watch most of the games, but I either can't be stuffed or don't feel like strongly enough to talk about it. But I want to be able to talk about it now that I've got all the free time. And we've also got a huge BBL preview coming. It's going to be the best episode in Big Swing Noting history, bar none. You guys always love the Big Bash previews, and we'll give our ridiculous predictions on as a group, but it's going to be hopefully a special guest. I don't know how I'm going to run it at the moment, but it's going to be still going to be amazing, and it's not something you want to miss. This has been the Big Swing Noting podcast. Play it through.